What's up, weirdos? I'm Lana Celeste of Midnight Media, and today for What's Good Wednesday, we're doing top 10 weirdest horror movies. So let's get freaky with it, and let's do it. Number 1, Rubber. This movie came out in 2010, was written and directed by Quentin Duplaix, a French independent filmmaker. This is one of the strangest movies I've ever seen. The premise is literally a tire, yep, hence the name of the movie, Rubber, an actual tire that has psychokinetic powers, killing and maiming, using many mental powers, rolling around like a tire does, murking people. Wherever it rolls, just screwing things up. This was not a good movie. It was boring, and it just kept waiting for there to be an actual story to unfold, but you never got anything worthwhile. I feel like Quentin Duplaix was like, "Hey guys, I bet you $50 I can make a movie with on a weekend with a tire." And his friends were like, "Nah, you can't do that." And he was all like, "Hold my beer." And he did. He made a movie. Indeed, it was made. Should it have been? No. But I'll give it an A for its effort, so 4 out of 10. Plugging in with 2, Videodrome, written and directed by the weirdest of all, Canada's own David Cronenberg, in 1983, starring James Woods, Sonia Smith, and the one and only Blondie, aka Debbie Harry. Set in Toronto in Canada's 1980s, James plays a CEO of basically this small television station. He falls into this conspiracy that unfolds. It uncovers a source of a signal that's being broadcasting intense hallucinations and causing him to lose grip with reality. It all leads to a much darker theme, a dark secret. James is so good in this movie. This is such an odd concept, and I think everyone should try it out for size. I rate this movie 7.7 out of 10. Number 3. This has some real bite to it, for real. Teeth. Released in 2007. Written and directed by Mitchell Lichtenstein, starring Jesse Weeder. This movie is bizarre and was not afraid to go for it, that's for sure. This movie is wildly outside and has no F's to give. Dawn is a teenage girl that sadly faces what many young women do. She is almost assaulted physically, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. And so, I'm giving a warning. If you are triggered by SA, you should avoid this 100%. So let's just say that she comes to find out that she has a built-in protection that is enacted by her attack. And suddenly, the name of the movie becomes apparent. The teeth are not in her mouth. This was a good but freaky movie. I give this 5.6 out of 10. Number 4, The Gate. Directed by Tibor Takakis in 1987. Starring Stephen Dorff. Okay, so this movie is wacky and so very 80s vibage. Glenn, the main character, is a bit of a latchkey teenager, left to his own devices as his dad is a drunk and a pilot. Not a good mix, that's for sure. Glenn and his buddy Terry get into serious trouble with some records that they're playing backwards, magic, evil open portals to hell, and demony creatures. This is such a practical effects, old school rad movie. I rate this 6 out of 10. Number 5, Hitting Hard with the Cell, directed by Tarasan Singh in 2000, starring Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn, and Vincent D'Onofrio. J-Lo plays an experimental therapist that uses technologies to enter the mind of comatose patients. And this time she's been tasked to walk through the mind of a prolific serial killer. And they're like in a press for time because he captured a girl before he got locked up by the police. So before she starves to death, they have to find her. This movie is a complete acid trip in a nightmare. The visuals inside the mind of a serial killer is as twisted and mental as you would imagine. Surprising me that this movie is really pretty well unknown. This kind of madness is well worth the watch. I give this movie a 7.3 out of 10. 6. So extremely weird and disturbing. Perfume, that's directed by Tom Tykwer, released in 2006, starring Ben Whishaw, Alan Rickman, and Dustin Hoffman. Set in 18th century France. The main character, Grendile, was born with a hyper-heightened sense of smell, and it becomes his obsession to create this perfect scent by harvesting a woman's pheromone glands. This movie is beyond warped and seriously disturbing. This is an unsung weirdo, and something, if you have the stomach for it, is a definite must watch. I rate this 7.5 out of 10. 7 is so strange and stunning. Under the Skin, directed by Jonathan Glazer in 2013, starring Scarlett Johansson, who plays an extraterrestrial wearing a woman's skin she stole. This movie was adapted by Michelle Faber's novel from 2000. Okay, so this movie is so powerful and really intense. The alien stalks, kills, and feeds on men in the streets of Scotland that are like sleazy and are easy to pick up. Using her now womanly wiles, and finds themselves wanting to experience human things, even like sex. So they have an encounter that goes badly after her skin suit rips in the process. And here's where things get weirder and scary. They also have this encounter where they end up saving a child from a scary situation. And then they have a really deeply disturbing situation with a man that shows humanity for its messed up and darkness that it can sadly be. So this movie is many things, weird being first on that list. I highly suggest that everyone watch this. I rate this pretty high, 8.5 out of 10. Number 8 is maybe the greatest weirdo movie, with Tusk. Written and directed by Kevin Smith in 2014, starring Justin Long, Haley Joel Osment, and Michael Parks. Okay, so let me start by saying that literally everything about this movie is berserk, off the freaking wall. Justin plays this like snot-nosed hipster reporter with a podcast who travels to this remote cabin in Canada to have like this interview with a well-known adventurer who survived a horrible situation, and clearly the experience scrambled his brain. So as the survival story unfolds, it gets so messed up and then goes even harder and becomes a body horror with a twist. And the ending is like, what? What was that? Like, what? Wow, what? It's so mind scrambling. You feel like you had, like, your mind whipped from one of those things in Men in Black. Like, it was just, like, completely wiped out. But it was interesting, so I rate this 5 out of 10. We are queued up with number 9, Ghost in the Machine, directed by Rachel Talalay, starring Karen Allen in 1993. Okay, so long story short, a serial killer becomes obsessed with the scientist. He attacks her in her lab, and he ends up too close to her computer experiment, and in some strange, weird soul switch encounter thing, He ends up in the machine, and it basically makes him unstoppable because technology is part of everything. His soul could travel through whatever scary want he wants to do, he can do, basically, if it's machine related. He was a person, and he was a very evil person, so now he's a very, very evil machine. So this movie is bad and stupid, but extremely weird. I would not watch this again, and felt like, this movie was certainly nothing cracked up to what it was supposed to be, had no substance at all, so I rate this movie a very low 3 out of 10. 10. Lastly, a real mind twist, The Skin I Live In, directed by Pedro Almodovar, starring Antonio Banderas. Released in 2011, based on the 1984 novel by Thierry Jonquest. So this is like deep, dark, heavy. Nothing about this movie is uplifting, like at all. Super crazy, nuts, creepy, weird. Antonio Banderas plays a doctor who loves his wife, and she died in a burning car wreck. And then his daughter is SA'd and kills herself, not being able to deal with the violation. From the loss of his wife and his daughter, basically the doctor is mentally broken and angry, resulting in him holding a woman hostage and doing experiments and surgeries on them. And when you think you know what's up, it takes a hard left and deeper levels of crazy, and just keeps falling down a weird well. This is a truly bizarre movie, but absolutely deserves a watch. Like, it definitely does. I rate this movie 8.5 out of 10. Well, it's been weird, and it's time for me to get weirder. So before I end the video, thank you for stopping by. Give this strange and unusual girl a like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for my next videos, and tell me in the comments, what do you think is the weirdest movie? Until next time, stay weird.